Hey kids, it's Jurassic James looking at Diplodocus. So this has been a long time coming, but I knew in my spark that somewhere this would happen. I'll explain more in a minute. But same rules apply. We have older to newer models, some ecology, some friends, etc. So Diplodocus was first uncovered or first recognized by modern scientists in 1877 by Samuel Williamson. It was officially named by Edward Cope, basically. The next year, 1878. So the idea with this animal is very simple. It is one of the most popular dinosaurs known. Yes, we know T-Rex and Velociraptor and Triceratops. Before Jurassic Park, people know Diplodocus. Why, you say? I'm glad you asked. It turns out Andrew Carnegie, who's a very famous philanthropist, he was from the Gilded Age in the 1800s. He made a lot of money, and as he got really old, he said, my goal is to give away all of my money. And one of the things he did, he funded paleontology research, and they founded Diplodocus and named it Diplodocus Carnegie after him, to which he said, I will make copies of this and send it to all these kings of Europe and every other museum. The original is in Pennsylvania, but the idea is that this is a very well-known dinosaur. Now, same rules apply, again, older to newer, and I will start off with not my first one, but the one that's the oldest in my collection. This is the British Museum's 1974. I know the names, I know where they're from, I don't know the year, right? And so this one is a really cool model. I remember first seeing this when I was a kid. I was watching Paleo World, and these kids on this show were talking to paleontologists and interviewing them, and they were doing a volumetric study in England. So you take a big beaker of water, you have this much water already in it, you dip the model in there and see how much water is displaced. So the idea is that whatever number, like say real fake numbers, say it's at 80, you put in this, it's 100. Well, that means 20 milliliters, etc., was displaced, right? The idea then is you take the measurements of the animal based on what we have and scale it up and say, well, if this much is displaced, it's this much volume. The problem, of course, is this is not a weight study because dinosaurs like this have hollow bones and air sacs, whereas this is solid plastic. But as far as the mass goes, it makes sense, right, to dunk it in the water and see its mass, but not so much for its weight because there's just differentiation of these different interior structures or materials, right? So, yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid and thinking that was really cool. You know, my first thought about science is how we predict things, understand things, and measure things. But that's what this model is used for. Now, overall, the model is really great because it hits all the major points. This is a Diplodocus of its time. And so I don't ever go back in time and go, well, they were wrong about it because they don't know what we know today. So for its time, super accurate, super great. Most importantly, that tail is amazing. I like the fact that it's that long because Diplodocus is known for its long tail. Its neck is like 1/4 of its length, right? Too. So this is a very long animal. When often people compare these guys, these sauropod morphs, these long necks, to whales, they go, well, they're close to whale size. Whales are like solidly that thing in the ocean. These are mainly neck and tail, and that's worth noting. That being said, the first one I actually bought, I remember this guy here, was a Diplodocus, and it was based on the Walking with Dinosaurs series, not the more modern movie with the Pechyrhinoceros, the one from the BBC. And this animal I bought from a museum gift shop. Now, what I like about it, first of all, is the neck is more. The only thing I would complain is that the tail should be up, not dragging. We have every sauropod footprint ever found has never shown tail drag marks, and so that's something to point out. But again, of their time, and the neck, it can rear up this way. It can probably go more out this way. A lot of debating on how the neck can move. I'm not a part of that or about that. I'm just giving you the big picture here. And the idea is that these little spikes here seen in the Walking Dinosaurs documentary, they found a Diplodocus, I believe in Wyoming, that had cartilage spikes like this, kind of like an iguana. These spikes in their back. So something that's not made of bone, so it wouldn't normally fossilize, you would normally find it. But having no soft tissue, we saw that it was on the tail and it's been assumed to be over the back and the neck. Hence you see it in Walking with Dinosaurs and not in early depictions. That being said, the one thing to point out that I do have issue with this is the tail is atrocious. I will say, I always complain about tails, but for Diplodocus, the tail being very long, it's one of its main things. What I'm saying by that is, compared to other sauropod long necks of its time and location, it's exceptionally long tail is what makes it stand out among other things. And so the shortened tail on this one is like, you missed it by that much, right? But overall, pretty decent model for what it's trying to say, what it's trying to show. It's harkening to this time in this documentary. This guy here, it was a 4-pack, clearly in the toy section, not so much for science, and I believe it was like a Stegosaurus and a Baryonyx with it, so not necessarily connected animals that way. But this guy reminds me of a Diplodocus baby. Now I'm going to explain, I say baby, not a hatchling, more like a juvenile. And I'll explain why. There was one found, I think they call it Andrew, discovered in, I think, Montana. And there's a big thing in paleontology. One of the hot new topics now is looking at baby dinosaurs and looking at adult dinosaurs and seeing how they change. Now, of course, babies have big eyes, small noses, bigger, different features because they're growing into their adulthood. But we're saying basically not just that normal thing we see in invertebrates on land, particularly, but actually the fact that niche partitioning, different jobs in the environment. So the adult Diplodocus have more like not horse, cow-like faces, and the juveniles have like deer, more narrow faces. And my example of this is very important because the idea is that they're eating different things. So a cow eats different than a deer, right? They're both herbivores, but they eat different things in the environment. So in theory, you would look at it and say, well, the herbivores, the adults are in these big herds eating one thing, and the juveniles would be separate, eating something different, right? That's what you're seeing happening or implied by this discovery. I will also point out this guy here. Now, this is one of my favorite Diplodocus models that I had. And the idea behind it was very simple. Back in the 1900s, last century, kids, before Amazon and before eBay became big, when you wanted something, this is kids, get close to the screen. When you wanted something, you had to go to a store, like a big boxy building, and talk to people and ask them. And it was a different time. I know. This is heresy. But I remember there was a teacher supply store near my house, and I went to it, and I saw the dinosaur toys, and I was super excited because it was just different stuff, right? Unfortunately, the dinosaurs they had, I think I had all but like a few of them. So I bought like 2 of them, and they were like, "Do you want anything more?" And I'm like, "No, I already have all those." And they go, we have a magazine for the store. You can order things. So it's like Amazon, but like a person interaction. Back then, phones just rang. It was it. They didn't do anything else. And so the idea here is that I remember they opened the magazine, and I saw this, and I said, I will order that, and another one, and I paid them, and it came, like a week or 2 later, I came back and picked it up. And so what's important about this Diplodocus, it's the Carnegie model. This is, I think, the 90s, if I remember correctly, no time. It's from the 90s, I remember that particularly. I was there, I saw what happened. And so the idea is that what I like about it is, one, the tail, beautiful. Just keeps going on and on and on. This little whippy part like this. This is great. It should be higher. It should be more going out, but still great. The first thing I'm going to point out is that I like the feet. All of these have, for the most part, the generic dinosaurian elephant feet you associate with dinosaur toys and models. Turns out with Diplodocus and its relatives, particularly Diplodocus itself, we have our hands, we have our ulnar radius, we have the carpal metacarpal, which is your palm, and the phalanges of your fingers. So they do not have, so your phalanges have 1, 2, 3 bones because you were a mammal. I assume you're a mammal. I assume you're a primate. I assume you're a human. Why do I care if you're a human watching this video? Because humans can't subscribe. See how that I hit it there, very subtle. So the idea is that these two bones here aren't there in Diplodocus. They only have metacarpal and this phalange here. So they have 4 of those like this and a thumb spike. The thumb spike's associated with 2 or 3 things. One, it could be for digging for water, for fighting for prey, maybe for getting girlfriends. Long story there. This is a kids-friendly channel. The point is, just plow right through that. The point is, we have here, the foot is showing that first design of a big toe, claw, and the smaller toes. And then on the foot, there are 3 larger toes. The palms, they all have claws, which is something to be debated, actually. But overall, there's a differentiation of its feet, unlike the earlier ones that had just a generic kind of basic foot there. Now, what's also important about this guy, 2 things. One before I get to the big picture. The skull. There is a set of nostrils between its eyes. So for a Diplodocus, the eyes or orbits right here. The nares nose hole is like right here. And so the depiction of this is of its time. And again, I don't judge the past models for their information, because if you find a nose hole between the eyes, you say, well, the nostrils are right there. And because the earlier ideas, we knew at this point that they were land terrestrial animals. They weren't hiding in swamps or anything, or at least going deep into water, like the oldest theories were. But the idea is that a man named Dr. Larry Whitmer, who I met once, he's a really nice guy. He does soft tissue studies at Whitmer Labs, where they scan like everything: crocodiles, rhinos, elephants, everything, lizards, and they see where all the soft tissue is on the skin, how it affects the skeleton, right? So looking at this animal, they realize, the nostrils, the nares is right here, the nose hole is here, but the nostrils are down here. Now, an example for you humans is that when we eat our food, if something smells or tastes bad, or if it smells bad mainly, you don't want to eat it. If you put something that smells bad in your mouth, you're going to want to recoil. It's a natural reaction reflex. And so the idea is that you want to have your nostrils near your mouth, kind of sticking out, protruding out, because why? When you're bringing food in, you want to smell it, make sure it's not weird or rotten, right? And there are times I've been places, and they're like, food. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, whoa, that smells horrible. I didn't eat it, right? So what he's saying, that's what remember saying with Diplodocus and his kin, is that there's holes up here, nostrils holes, but the nostrils are down there. They're covered in skin, right? And you're saying, well, that seems weird, James. How would that work? Well, it turns out you being a human show, there's a hole, triangle holes right here, and your nostrils are down here. There's a little bit of skin covering it up. You call it a nose. So it's not a crazy idea. Now, why is that important? Because Diplodocus is very gracile, slender. It has a close relative called Apatosaurus, who's very robust. And these are all Carnegie from the same time and same model, same company, same order, right? So these guys eat very similar things. Their teeth are like pencils in the front of their mouths. In fact, this safari, there's a tube of dinosaur skulls. The Diplodocus tube, the teeth should be more to the front, even then. But it's still, the idea is that there's a nose hole there, the eyes are right there. Because these guys, when they're eating their food, they don't chew their food at all. They have pencil-like teeth. They bite down on the leaf. They strip the leaves off, swallow them whole. You and I, as humans, chew our food and swallow. These sauropods swallow their food and chew. Chewing isn't your teeth. Chewing is grinding food down. And so the idea is that for them, chewing is a luxury. You need all these muscles and stuff to work your jaw. They don't have time for that. They just strip the leaves down, they rake them down their throat, they swallow stones called gastroliths, and that crushes the food for them. And so, huzzah. So these are eating low foods, softer plants, usually as adults. There's an idea called the feeding envelope, and the idea is very simple. If you're standing in one spot, how much area can you reach and eat without moving? So think about an elephant. They walk up to a tree or a brush and they start eating like that. You're standing in one spot eating. How you sit at your table and your siblings or friends are there. So you have your territorial range of food and then their range is there. And you better not cross that border. And the idea is that you're eating your food in this feeding envelope. Same thing for them, but with their necks and feeding like this too. So they're eating low-resing food. The Camarasaurus, which is a pretty good model, I would say it should be a little bit wider than the newer model, but still pretty good. Hit all the points. Most abundant sauropod in the Morrison formation, second most abundant. So they're doing pretty well. So these guys, Camarasaurus means chamber lizard, not camera. These guys eat brush and shorter trees. And of course, my fave, the big Brachiosaurus, who's the most rare of all of these guys. There are other sauropods too, but Brachiosaurus is a high browser. It's the wear and its teeth imply that it's eating different foods as well. And so these are all living side by side. So why does that matter to you and I? The idea is that if you go to Africa, savannah today, you have lions, you have hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, and they're all eating meat. They're competing with each other. So poor cheetahs will kill their food and have to eat it incredibly fast because the lions are going to come steal it. Leopards will hide in a tree for that reason too. But for the herbivores, they're not competing so much for food. Because why? Well, the wildebeest have big, flat, wide mouths for eating certain grasses. The zebras have more pointed mouths. The gazelles and impala have even more pointed mouths. They're eating different kinds of plants. So you say, well, they're not really fighting each other until the watering hole, because everyone drinks water. So with these guys, they're eating different plants as well, different in the same environment, or at least these are very similar, and they're still not competing with each other directly in that sense. That being said, also to the Carnegie set, we have the Stegosaurus and a really weird Allosaurus of this time. I mean, he's made to be put attacking a sauropod. Same Carnegie make, model, and all that. And this Ceratosaurus, I remember, it's clear as day, buying the Ceratosaurus. I remember because two things. One, I was a kid. We were at a different store across town, and I saw it, and I remember it was a new species for my collection. So I was whenever I get a new species, I get super excited. And so the idea was, I remember buying it and like standing in line going like, this is going to happen. This is going to change everything. Kind of like how when kids buy new superhero villains or whatever. Anyway, so Ceratosaurus we've talked about on many occasions. So these are all, and there are more sauropods, there are more carnivores, there are more herbivores, but these are the most famous ones from this site. And I remember it was my first ecology as a kid because I saw these dinosaurs in my books, in my documentaries, in my papers, and they were together, and I was super excited about that. Anyway, moving forward, let's put everyone back. We're going to move forward now to the other group. I'm going to put you, you're so heavy, very robust, this guy here. And our Diplodocus, and then put the Allosaurus tail this way, that way it won't fall over on the edge of the table. All this, and there. Dinosaur, I'm going to need more room for this guy. So the next one we have is the update to this one. This is a Diplodocus Carnegie. What year are you? It's like a wine bottle. What year is this? 2008. Mwah. So the idea is that we have this upgraded. The feet are correct. They have the thumb spike. They have these little nubs right there. We have the toes with 3 toe claws. Like so, 3. It's kind of like this. And then these 2 are just nubbins like that. You're seeing the feet there. They were amazing. And so the tail goes out, straight out, not down. and like this. Now, what's cool about this is it's missing the spikes because that's, I don't know. But their vertebrae are kind of like this. So imagine their backbones are like this. They're all lined up. And there's all these points on the top like this where all the muscles and things attach, like a suspension bridge. And that's where the name kind of hints from, Diplodocus, double beam lizard. But they're like this giant kind of bridge thing. And they're, again, really cool. So this is, I think, the model I teach with usually. If I do a Diplodocus talk, I bring this one in usually. This is how important this is to me, right? Very good model. Then we, one step forward, two steps back. This is one, I went to Dinosaur World in North Texas near the footprints of Glen Rose. And this is like clearly a kid-friendly kitty kind of toy. But I will give them credit because one, bigger first toe. Look at that. Claws, sure. Two big ones and then three small ones, which should be reversed to be three big ones and two small ones or nothing as far as the claw goes. But again, reduced tail. And so I got it, because it was just old school. And I wanted to show you, something different. Like, here's the old way of looking at it. Now, I am not saying this is terrible. You should, if you have one, you should burn it. I'm not saying that. Your Diplodocus, your household, your rules, who cares? I'm just pointing out where it stands. And again, it had enough features when you look at it. I saw it and said, oh, this is a Diplodocus. I can tell from the way it looked. The teeth should not go that far back of the jaw. That is upsetting. Anyway, let's move on. So next we have, this guy who's another one that I usually teach with. Oh, look at that. There's a lot going on here. So it has the spikes, the cartilage spikes on the back. It has the whip-like tail. Again, a signature feature on this animal. It has the hand. There you go. Yeah. So your thumb spiking like this, and then their foot, because it's like this. It's like Tarzan, the 1990s movie, the animated movie. They have crescent footprints because for the first foot. The last foot is a big flat like this. Like we hear the bathtub-sized footprints. That's the back foot, not the front foot. So they have this big foot crescent. Bigfoot, crescent, kind of like that footprint set. And I've been in places in Texas. We were not Diplodocus because they're from further north, but I've been in places in Texas where you see sauropod tracks just like that, right? And so this one has the three claws, but then it's too small. I don't know. Okay, it's like a fourth claw. No, nubbin, small claw and then a nubbin. Close enough, honestly. It's what you're seeing here. So this guy again has the teeth, kind of the buck teeth in the front. I like that a lot because it makes it look like, because that's how they look. They feed. They strip the leaves down, swallow them whole. Okay, so our last two before the big guy are these guys. Now, one, this is something important because Dr. Bacher, among other paleontologists, are saying this guy could rear up. And I want to say, like, half paleontology is like, yeah, sure, and half like, no. So, because of course. And I remember in his book, Dinosaur Heresies, he has pictures of like conifer trees, and these are rearing up to feed on the high leaves. Again, they're feeding envelope. And so the one in the museum in Houston is like rearing up as well, which is a whole different story about that animal. But, the hands are cool. The hands are great. The feet are great. So you win. Awesome. So again, this is one of my newer models, more, features. We have found Diplodocus skin. It seems the one they found may have been two things. One, it's the younger one, and two, dinosaurs seem to have different skin scale patterns. Many species that we have found scales seem to have different scale patterns on different parts of the body. And so it seems that it's been theorized that the part they have has some different patterns in different sections of it, that it may actually be, from the back to the belly to the arm, there's going to be a different transition of scales in those areas. And so I'm thinking it's probably that part of the animal. And I'm staying tuned to see more research, but I wanted to open this as soon as possible. So we're going to wait and maybe do a part two. Next we have, let's see, who are you? You are, let's see. Oh, I didn't read you. Who are you? What company? I think you're Safari, right? Oh, Collect A. Oh, well then. 2018 Collect A Diplodocus. This is a good one too. If you want to get a giant one. And so, let's see, you are a 2018 made in Portugal, MOD, no company seen. Cool. And so this guy has gone backwards with his feet. It's the main parts. It has the three main toes with the claws, maybe a little fourth nub in there. It has a big claw and a little kind of elephantine looking feet. But I wouldn't kick it out of my collection. It's a really good, it's a decent model, right? I like this one a bit more because it's more accurate, but this one's still pretty cool. Now, obviously, I'm going fast because I'm trying to get to my big boy here. And so let's go ahead and do that now. So this is the Jurassic World one. Now, why is it so important to us? Because one, the Jurassic World Jurassic World Legacy Collection have gone with the sauropods that are in the Jurassic World movies. So they had Brachiosaurus, Apatosaurus, which was, Brachiosaurus seen in part 1 and 3. They have a Mechosaurus seen in part 2, Lost World. They have the Dreadnought scene in the last Jurassic World movie, Fallen Kingdom, I think, or no, Dominion. And then they had, who am I forgetting? Apatosaurus in Jurassic World 2015. And so I saw the dinosaurs, the sauropods of the movie, and go, okay, well, they're done. And then they said, no, hold my orange juice, Diplodocus. So this implies that they might actually start doing just other sauropods, which for me is important because they might make an Argentinosaurus. Like that song, Wishing, Praying, Hoping, and Dreaming, because Argentinosaurus is the largest, well, one of the largest, the textbook largest dinosaur, arguably, and there's only a few small toys of it. And so I'll be really excited to open that one year. But in the meantime, our Diplodocus. So, Jurassic World Diplodocus. Look at that. Ooh, the box is pretty, and it does that. And there's assembly. Ooh, lots of assembly. Okay, there's, oh, look at that. Look at, my goodness. I'm so excited. For now, the official Scissors Jurassic James are been summoned. There we go. 1, 2, and let us begin. I mean, literally, I opened this on Christmas Day. I'm like, I can't open this because, you know, the viewers. No, there's no plastic. Nice. Okay. We don't need the scissors, apparently. Also, we have this thing called brute force and strength. There we go. And I'm going to open it like this. Audio, forgive me. Oh, not that painful. And wait for it. Not that side. Nope. More stuff. Bits. Nope. Where'd we go? Ah, this. Oh, my goodness. So many parts. Let's see. Up. Okay, let's just do it this way. So many parts. Okay. And then we're going to pull this. Ah, there we go. Whoa. Okay. Do that. So, okay. A lot to unpack. So I guess I'll start with the big piece here, which is the torso. And okay. Are you enjoying the audio? Microphone. And so finally, we have the head. If you want to kill a snake, cut off his head. That's the old saying from humanity, I guess. I don't know. So there are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 pieces. The first piece I would go bigger than smaller. It's like for fossils. Take this, the big guy here. That's clearly the bottom. You plug it in like this. There we go. The next biggest piece, obviously, is the neck. So it goes like that. Okay, now it gets fun. Be sure there's no more. Okay, refer to the box. There's 2, 3. Cool. And so this part goes here, and the color helps to tell you the color changes there. Oh my goodness, there's so much to say. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see. Next, we have. It's not that hard to assemble. You don't have to be a paleontologist to assemble this, but it does help. I don't know. But there we go. Now, let us. Oh, like this. Uh-oh. That's not good. All right. Yeah. That shouldn't. Okay. Cool. All right. Big guy. According to the box, you just flipped the Brachiosaurus in the head. According to a box, it's 142 centimeters or 56 inches, or at least one kid doing this wide. That's a unit of measurement somewhere in the world. So first thing I'm looking at with this animal is overall good proportions. I like. Oh, okay. So I like the head. Like this, and then it just keeps going, and look at all that tail. Yeah. So, first of all, slender, horse-like head. Love that. Second, let's get the mouth, teeth. So, like I said, Oh my. I'll just hold this for a second. So the teeth, as you see here, look like all the sauropod teeth of this collection. They should only have teeth in the front, not on the sides like this, and they should be more like pencils kind of jutting out, kind of bucktooth in a way. The nostrils are in the very tip of the nose. That is great. That is showing Whitmer's work. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but whatever. The spikes are of course seen there from the cartilage that we found. The hands or forelimbs are upsetting because they have 5 toe claws equal size. There's no thumb spike, or thumb club, not thumb chunk, first toe, sorry. And then the back feet have again a degenerate, and again, I didn't mention it in my last 4 large sauropod videos, but their feet are usually, again, the big 3 toes and the 2 small nubbins. They all have like the normal 5, kind of, and the middle one's longest, which is upsetting. But the feet are not great. But overall, proportionally, I like the fact that it is a more slender animal. Unfortunately for mine, the tail, it keeps coming off, which is unfortunate. So let's try again. Let's see. Let's turn this. Okay, is there any kind of, am I not doing? Oh, no, that can't be it. Oh. Plug it in and get twisted? No. Okay. That's just unfortunate. Let's see. So you can see what's going on. I forgot you're here. Sorry. You have all that. Look at all those bits. And so you're supposed to plug it in and turn it. Is it not? Am I not pushing it in enough? Oh, I am. That's it. Yeah. Maybe it just does this? I don't know. If I've done something wrong, let me know in the comments. Or if it's something right, let me know in the comments. The internet, the YouTube likes that. Does this rotate too? Okay, let's see. Cool. If I have done anything wrong, I'll just use some glue. Anyway, so cool animal, big scales, big body parts, big everything. And again, this guy lived side by side with Apatosaurus. So the Jurassic figure lived in late Cretaceous South America. The Mimichisaurus lived in China in the middle to late Cretaceous. Late Jurassic. And then the Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus lived with this guy. Now, one thing to point out is that the Apatosaurus, look at those horrible feet. The Apatosaurus, I just did mention in my first video. I was so excited about the toy. See, when I was a kid, we just didn't have giant sauropods. It was a different time. And so, that's fine. So proportionally, these guys are pretty close. The Diplodocus would have been, smaller, but maybe longer than Apatosaurus. And so that's Apatosaurus is more bulky. So that makes sense. Whereas Brachiosaurus over there will be way taller. So I do like that idea in general. And again, it is more slenderly built. So that's really good among the two. But again, this is a new day in sauropod collecting toy world, because we will now see a time where it's a possibility that next fall, the Jurassic World line may make a Camarasaurus or a Argentinosaurus or some other large, well-known sauropod. Whichever one's the hottest one at the time, right? But I like the fact that it's cool. I know, I like this. His feet that's kind of weird. But anyway, so it can turn this way, and then up and down for low feeding. That's a huge feeding envelope. That's our vocab word of the day. And the tail should be for whipping, but it just didn't make it. It keeps breaking off. I'm going to figure that out at some point. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Anyway, well, that is Diplodocus. I'll put its tail out because I should at least attach it long enough to finish the video properly. You're a professional on paper, at least. There you go. And so that's Diplodocus in a nutshell. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. We're going to do something smaller, literally smaller, next week. Who knows what? The ones that are not ready are like right there. So I'm like, who would I do next? Who would be the next to go online? I don't know. We'll find out together. See you guys later.